Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new video. This is a Lawn Flight Model 686 and it's a pretty high spec machine. 16 horsepower Vanguard. Vanguard engines are very good. But it's more like a car, this thing. It just has all the features. It's got these lights on the steering wheel, clutch, PTO, oil. It's got the amp meter down there. Obviously the choke, throttle, everything like that is around here as well. And we've got the headlights. It just feels really well built. I like this thing. So we're going to try and get it running. It doesn't run, and apparently there is a problem with the deck. Apparently it leaves some grass uncut, so it's probably got worn blades or something like that. We'll see. But yeah, under the bonnet, there we have it. A Vanguard 16 horsepower. I love these engines, really good, from Briggs & Stratton. There's the fuel tank. But yeah, never seen a steering wheel with these lights on, a light up display. It's really nice. So let's get it into the workshop. We'll first of all try and get it running, and then once it's running, we'll work on the deck and mow some grass, hopefully. Okay, so here we are in the workshop, and we can now start to figure out exactly what is wrong with this machine, if anything. Maybe it is just the deck. And yeah, I know it's very tight in here. I can't afford a bigger workshop at the moment, but hopefully we can put some money towards a bigger workshop with this machine. It's going to be a bit of a mower flip. This cost £100, but it's obviously going to cost quite a bit more with the parts involved. And yeah, we'll sell it on and we'll see how much profit we can make. Of course, yes, it has to be good. It has to be in good working condition, so it's a nice, low-cost machine for somebody. So my first port of call is to the battery, and I can see it's got 3 volts in it. It's a very old-looking battery, so I think the safest thing to do is just to replace it. It's just not going to be reliable for somebody who wants to use this machine on a weekly basis, so that can be replaced immediately. And just as I wait for the new battery to arrive, I will use a jump pack to test the electric system. Okay, so we're all connected up. Let's see if we have any dashboard lights. Right, so we do have one, the oil pressure light, which makes sense. That should go off when the engine is running as it builds up the oil pressure. But we do not have depressed clutch or PTO. So yeah, the clutch actually is depressed, and it is set as depressed. Well, it's not depressed, it's just it's fine. It's quite a happy clutch. But no, that is a concern. And PTO, that'll be with the deck. So I think we'll test that when we actually get this thing running. But yeah, at least we do have some life. Not a great deal, but we have some. Yeah, I just love the engine. These Vanguards are so good. So yeah, what we'll do now is we'll check the oil, and then we'll turn it over, hopefully. It's one of those wibbly wobbly dipsticks. I actually don't know why they vary. I think most of them are metal. Okay, so that is actually overfilled. It's just over. But the oil will be changed anyway, so that will be drained out. Well, it might not be that old, but we just don't know. So yeah, with that out of the way, we know that we do have enough oil to be able to turn this over if it wants to turn over. So here we go, the moment of truth. Let's turn the key. Brilliant. Yeah, I think the jump pack's just running low on battery, but it turns over. That's really, really promising. So the next step is to get it running. We actually want to start this thing. I don't see any reason why we can't start it now. That's the only way to really test everything, test the deck, see what the exact issue is with the deck. It may be that the carburetor is dirty and it won't run. What do we have in the fuel tank? We do have some petrol in there. Not much. There's a bit of water as well in that corner. so it's probably best to drain that. Yeah, so this side panel I'm hoping is going to come off independently to the rest of the bonnet. So if we can get that moved out of the way, I'll have really good access to change the fuel line and drain the tank. And of course change the filter. And there it is, the engine. So it's 1991, manufactured 26th of June 91. Yeah, the fuel line isn't terrible, but it is old. Right, so I'll have a look at this fuel. Hopefully the pump works as well, but of course we're going to find out, because if the engine doesn't run, then it's going to be carburetor or pump, because we'll know the fuel is good. Let's see what we've got. Yeah, so it's a bit discoloured, but really not terrible. Seen so much worse. Sometimes it comes out as like a thick orange syrup, which is quite amazing. We do have some floaty bits. In fact, there's quite a lot of bits in there. And that's been through the filter. Okay, so yeah, in the end I did actually remove the fuel tank. It was much easier. I couldn't get to the clamp underneath, so it had to come out. Put a new cable tie on, and now we can put the new fuel line on with the new fuel filter. And then hopefully we'll be able to drive it, hopefully. We'll be able to test the gearbox, test the deck, and all that sort of stuff. And in fact, if it does start, I will probably even mow some grass, because that is really the only way of being able to see exactly what the deck is doing. Because yeah, I got told that the deck was being strange and leaving a strip of grass, probably due to worn out blades. Right, so that is all done. We can now see if we can get fuel through and spark. If we can, if it starts, then I'm going to go and cut some grass with it. This is the old battery, as we've already established, totally dead. But I'm going to put it back in again, because the new one, which has now arrived, is here, and that is charging, and I want to give that a proper charge, so 12 to 24 hours. I don't want to rush it. It's only been on for 3. So I think if I put the dead one back in and then jump start it, at least then the engine can run the anti-bac fire solenoid and stuff like that. So that should all be good, hopefully. And then, yes, after 12 to 24 hours, I can put the new battery in, and then that should solve the electric issue. Well, the fact that the battery was dead. But yeah, let's just see what this mower is like. Let's see if it works. Let's check out the deck. And if it does all work, I'll pressure wash everything, and then we can work on the deck as well. Wow, first time. Question is, will it drive? Yes, it will. Well, as you saw from the video, it did actually mow the grass surprisingly well, but we do need to put some new blades on and the bearings need to be replaced because these are loud. Yeah, really not good. So quite a bit of work to do, but first let's just clean it. Well, that's looking a lot cleaner. Also, we can now have a good look underneath to examine the pulleys. And I do suspect that this one here is noisy. Yep. So that one needs to be replaced. And that one likely does too. But I won't be able to turn that with just one hand. But yeah, I'm going to change it because it looks bad, and I'm sure it is bad. Right, so with the deck and the machine all cleaned, you can really see the condition of these blades. When you first see them, you think, oh, they're all right. But then you can actually see that the lifters have completely worn off, and then somebody has welded a little rectangular piece of sheet metal onto them so they can, well, not rot away quite as fast, I'm guessing, and still do their job at throwing the grass out the side. Also, yeah, these spindles have been off before, indicating that the bearings have probably been done fairly recently. Hard to tell though, because they look like stainless, and obviously stainless is not going to rust like the zinc coated ones are. But yeah, still, the bearings do sound bad, so that is quite surprising. So let's first of all remove these blades. To be fair, their weld must have been pretty good for this to work. But not really what you want to be doing, modifying blades, just replace them. It's so much safer, and it's actually easier as well. Okay, so quite a bit of string, garden twine around here. This will all be removed. I think what I'm going to do is just film doing one of these spindles. I'm going to do both of them, but there's no point filming both because they're exactly the same. And yeah, then we can put new bearings in. Oh, that is so bad. Wow. Yeah, so we're going to make it good. I'll also treat the underside of the deck with rust converter, and I'll probably even give it a coat of bitumen paint or something like that. That is just so bad. Wow. So what I need to do is press the spindle out of the housing. Yeah, so we've got the bearing cup just here. I can now clean out between that and the boss. There we go. I will clean the shaft as well, but most importantly, here we have the hub, the spindle housing with the bearings in it. As you can see, we do have 3 more nuts and bolts. So if I remove those, we should be able to separate the hub and then remove those old bearings and then press the new ones in. They might not even need to be pressed, but yeah, if necessary, I can press them in. And there we have it, looking very corroded. Really not good. Yeah, I don't think, it looks like it's been removed before, but it doesn't look like the bearings have been done. Maybe they couldn't figure it out, or don't know, some other reason. Gave up. Or maybe they did. It was just a really long time ago. You can actually change this whole assembly for £40 for non-genuine. It's probably Sten's part number. So £80 for a full set. Wow. Yeah, depending on how bad this is, we might end up doing that. It does seem to be extremely rusty. But there we go. We've got the first one out. That was so bad. Hopefully we have a good housing. Yep, that looks good. Just needs a really good clean. Right, now for number 2. out with a bang, literally, in one go. And that, I think, was the worst bearing. It's so bad. Okay, well, that was, in the end, not terrible, so that can all be cleaned up. Yeah, I could sandblast them. Yeah, let's do this properly. Unfortunately, my GoPro is not working currently, so I can't put it inside the sandblaster. But this is what they look like before going in. And this is afterwards. I know, not perfect. There is a bit of pitting, and this sandblaster isn't super powerful, so it can't really dig out some of that really, really deep corrosion. But yeah, I'll now prime this. It's going to look so much better than what it was before. You can really see the difference between the new bearing and the old bearing. It's so bad. So yeah, 6204 RS sealed bearings. That's what we're going to be using. And the two bearing housings have been primed, they're dry, so we can now fit the new bearings. Going in a lot easier than what they came out. There we go. And this one does protrude out the other side. Yep, so you can see it's sticking up a bit there. We have this little spacer which sandwiches between the two bearings. And then we can bolt it together. Of course, I will be painting this with a nice top coat, probably black. That's good. And there we have it, nice and quiet. The spindle is in. Obviously it doesn't need to look pretty under here, but I am going to paint it. I could just leave it like that. It's primed, it's protected, but let's just do a thorough job. And that is as good as new. And it only cost, well, less than £10 for the bearings. Well, that's the deck treated and painted. Unfortunately, my SD card decided to corrupt just as I was doing the rust converter, but you did manage to see half of the painting. Anyway, it looks good, I think, in my opinion. And yes, we're now ready to fit the spindles. And there we have it, that's the deck pretty much done. Obviously, cosmetically, the paintwork isn't great. Somebody has brush painted this in the past, but there really isn't much I can do about it. Well, I could have it sandblasted and powder coated, but because it's been plated, it's just never going to look good. It's always going to be really obvious that, and it's also a very low cost machine, so, well, relatively low cost machine. Yeah, I don't think it's worth doing. So I've just gone with this approach, protecting the underside. It's going to be mechanically better than it is cosmetically, but at the end of the day, that's all you really want. If it's a good mechanically working machine, then yeah, just a little bit of flaky paint here and there shouldn't really be too much of an issue. I also have this new belt, brand new, because the old one was very worn out and it kept jumping off. So we'll get that fitted when I put it on the machine. But first, what we need to do is fit those two idler pulleys under the tractor. Yeah, it's that pulley. It's quite loud. It was usable, but ideally it needed to be replaced. So I'm replacing it. This is part number 280438 from Stens. So we'll put this nice new one on, and then we can do the small one. Okay, so we're just going to quickly change the oil. It's really not too bad, but it would be worth doing it. So we'll just run the engine for a minute or two just to warm it up, to circulate it all, then it will drain out nicely and I can put the fresh oil in. Right, so the deck is fitted. I have just quickly tested that. Obviously you're going to see this properly when I come to mow some grass. It's all good. That's all very good. Much quieter. But before we really progress and give it a proper test in some longer grass, what I want to do is just tidy up this front light lens, because it's actually gone green from sitting around outside. I think the story is this mower was inside most of its life, but the previous owner got a bit fed up with it because of the issues that it had, and then just left it outside. So, as most of these do, yeah, this light lens should just pop out. and then we can clean it. And then I think whilst I'm in there, I'll also just change the air filter as well. Because yeah, from what I could see through the little hole, it does not have a pre-cleaner, it just has the paper element filter. So I think just, there's a little clip on the inside here. If you just sort of pry on it. Okay, that's on the outside of the clip. There we go. And you can really see how much dust and dirt gets trapped in here. Just look at all that. So give it a good clean. And yeah, both these lights do work, as do the two rear ones. Absolutely amazing having rear lights on a ride-on mower. Very good. Seems to have really got stuck in here. Yeah. Don't know how it's managed to stick like glue. I guess it's all the juices in all the grass and stuff. Just using a bit of WD-40. That's cleaning it up very well. Probably just let it soak in a bit more. There we go, and I've just cleaned the lens as well. Just got to carefully refit this without cracking it. And there we go. Yeah, unfortunately the whole mower just got really wet. It's just poured with rain again. It's starting to really come together. But I'm not going to polish it up too much, and I'm not going to polish it up before I test it, because obviously that's just going to make it dirty again. We'll have it looking good by the end of the video. But let's just check the air filter. Give that a clean. It's actually much easier on tractors where the bonnet flips up, like the entire bonnet, including the side guards and the front grille, but it is doable. Yes, actually that filter looks new. Yep, looks very, very clean. Just missing the foam pre-cleaner, so I'll fit one of those to it. Okay, so just put some oil onto here. Just rub that all in. It'll help to trap the dust. And there we have it. Ready to fit. Okay, let's go and try it out. And there we have it, a quick renovation of the Lawnflight 686 Rider Mower. So how much did all this cost? Well, the original purchase of the machine cost £125, so not too much for a Rider Mower. The battery was £50. The new blades for the deck were £48. The bearings were £5. The deck belt was £20. The hardware was around £5. This of course includes bolts, nuts, and even things like the rust converter. The two drive pulleys were £32, and the engine service cost £10, which brings us a total of £295. And now for the part which I'm sure you've been waiting for. I did manage to sell this machine for £675, which means a profit of £380 was made, although that of course is assuming that I was working for free, because I did not include any labour charges in that total. But still not bad, and it was a good, fun little project to work on.